starts of the week.
I'm starting Selsun Blue.
You look like you're reading a tweet. I'm like, who's live watching the show? Alex Smith is my start of the week at the quarterback position. Russell Wilson had 5 through the air against Baltimore last week, the 31st against the quarterback in fantasy, and I think that Alex Smith will be solid enough to not lose you a fantasy playoff matchup, which is what you need. If you've got power positions elsewhere and you're streaming the quarterback position, you can go a lot worse and take a lot more risks than Alex Smith. He's not going to kill you with turnovers, and I think he'll put 1 or 2 into the end zone this week, if not more.
And yep. I'm sticking with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He is my stream of the week. He's also my start of the week. I think Dallas is trending the wrong direction.
It's just really hard to stop Marshall and Decker.
And there's wrapping it up, so to speak, in Dallas. And Ryan Fitzpatrick has been dominating. Like we talked about earlier, if Russell Wilson wasn't doing what he's doing right now, the focus would be what Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing. He has 9 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. A game, it was an overtime game, but almost 400 yards. So I just think he is a great, safe streaming option.
So when you mention Ryan Fitzpatrick, we need to give the context there. Same with Alex Smith. Would you start Fitzpatrick over Stafford?
That one I have struggled with that simply because the
start of the week.
No, not the start of the week, but just what will Stafford do? We know that the Saints have been an auto QB start.
Not recently.
So I'm saying, last week they kind of shut down Winston, and Stafford has looked either white hot or white cold.
White not.
I've got Stafford as my last QB1. He's QB 12, so I've got Fitzpatrick ahead of him personally. I would rather start him.
Ryan Fitzpatrick or Derek Carr against the Packers in Green Bay?
Derek Carr.
Isn't that game in Oakland?
No.
That game's in Oakland.
That game is in Oakland.
That game is in Oakland.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with Derek Carr this week. I've got him one spot behind Ryan Fitzpatrick. But since we're talking about all these quarterbacks, let me give my start of the week is Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles has been really hot lately. He has 3 weeks in a row with multiple touchdowns, 5 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, 4 touchdowns. One of those was on the ground last week. And now he's going up against Atlanta, who has a decent pass defense, but they're imploding. I mean, they look bad. They're playing bad. It's in their heads. Obviously, Cam Newton ripped them apart last week. I think that this is a game where you can trust Blake Bortles.
Let me ask you, though. I mean, who at this point is not starting Blake Bortles? Because for you to make him your start of the week, I need to know who that's helping.
You want to know what is crazy is that Blake Bortles was started in 56% of leagues. So a lot of people aren't starting Blake Bortles, and I'm saying, what are you doing? He's been on fire. He's a great option. He's a top half QB1 this year. I'm clearly starting Blake Bortles over Big Ben this week. That's me.
Aaron Rodgers. Cam Newton.
If you weren't watching on YouTube, you saw my life flee my body at that question.
That's the second time in the last 10 minutes.
Okay. Drew Brees.
I think I've got Blake Bortles ahead of Drew Brees.
You do. I was testing your might.
All right, we got to get moving. Running backs.
This is the longest show in the history of the world.
I wasn't doubting the start at all when I brought that up. What I was saying was I'm trying to think about the guy who's actually got Blake Bortles, because a lot of people grabbed him when they had Big Ben and they had other guys, and they're saying to themselves, well, how confident can I be? And I appreciate that you gave him that confidence. I was just trying to think about the other guys they're thinking about.
Yep.
I think
which is the guys we mentioned.
Most owners of Blake Bortles, I believe, most owners of Bortles have another quarterback option. They're not just rolling one guy. They're not a Rodgers team where they say, I don't need a backup. So I am fine with it.
All
Bortles
right,
is great.
Running back starts of the week. Let's try to get through these. Who's your guy, Mike?
I'm going with Darren Sproles, and this is especially in a PPR focus because edge speed is the Achilles heel of the Arizona defense. We've seen it week after week after week.
The linebackers cannot get laterally to the edge.
The Minnesota, when they tried to go up the middle, were not successful, and as soon as they started going around, even even tight end screens to the edge of slow behemoth men like Kyle Rudolph were having success. So if they game plan properly, and we know that the running back position up in Philadelphia is a complete influx of they're just stirring the bowl. They have no idea what's going on. So I think that they will game plan Sproles, and I got him down for 5 or 6 catches. I think he's going to be great.
For me, I'm sticking with the Jaguars over there with Denard Robinson. And the reason that I'm making him my start of the week is because
Jaguars,
there were
start of the week.
So many running backs that looked great during the waiver period. You had your Brandon Bolden. You had, Fozzie and Cap. Bryce Brown, an amazing start. Denard Robinson, he's really the only guy that I want to start from the majority of waiver claims this week. The Atlanta run D has not been good, and I think you're going to get a good week from him.
And I'm going to go with Tim Hightower. I cannot get the number 28 out of my head. 28 carries last week. And more than Ingram had all year. No competition. They don't believe in Spiller. Spiller won't be back. Hightower's paid his dues in practice, and he was okay last week. He scored a touchdown. I can't throw 28 carries out the window for very many other options. So I'm just starting Tim Hightower if I have him. The line probably ends at about Forte for that situation, but I like Hightower a ton. I'll just jump over to my wide receiver. My wide receiver is Michael Floyd. He is playing, even this morning, Bruce Arians came out, he's playing at an elite level. Last 4 healthy games, over 100 yards. He's scoring touchdowns. He's a big play receiver, and we've seen Philadelphia get torched before.
A perfect matchup for him. I was so upset because I went to make Michael Floyd my clear-cut number 1 start of the week, and you had already had him in there. I really love Michael Floyd this week. So instead, my real start of the week is Ted Ginn Jr.
Oh, I thought it was Dwayne Bowe.
Well, Dwayne Bowe.
Hey now. Dwayne Bowe Truthers Unite.
Ted Ginn Jr.
It's just you, buddy.
Has been doing it all year. He has big upside. In the playoffs, you have to have a guy that has top end potential that can put up a big game.
Wait, who did you say your start was?
Ted Ginn Jr.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So with Ted Ginn, you've got him in back-to-back weeks with 2 touchdowns. He's been on fire. He's done it through the year, and he's facing the New York Giants that have given up, those type of big plays. So I feel confident. I mean, I'm not telling you can't get a 4 points out of Ted Ginn Jr. You can, but you can also get a 30 points. And if you need a high-potential guy, Ted Ginn is a guy that is still on waivers. He started in almost no leagues, and he should be. He can win you a week this week. And my other honorary mention was Doug Baldwin. He's only started in 60-something% of leagues. He's going up against Cleveland. The running game is in shambles.
That'll be up this week.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you've got him, have the confidence to start him personally.
Doug Baldwin or Antonio Brown this week?
I knew you were going to do something like that.
Antonio Brown against Denver. Doug Baldwin against Cleveland. I know my answer.
All right. Okay. I know my answer. And my answer is Doug Baldwin.
Antonio Brown.
I'm in Antonio Brown as well.
Makes me want to gouge my eye out.
With just water!
No way.
I'm just kidding.
No way.
All right, Mike, who's your wide receiver start of the week?
My wide receiver start of the week is Golden Tate. He is getting 10 targets a game. Something weird is going on with Calvin Johnson. Add in the fact that they're in New Orleans. They are on prime time. And you know who shines on prime time? Mr. Drew Brees. When the lights are on, Drew Brees is always fantastic. And why is that for the guy in the Lions? Because the Lions will have to keep pace with the score of Drew Brees and his wide receiver core. So I like Golden Tate a lot to get targets, possibly get in the end zone.
Might as well let you continue down the line here with your tight end start of the week based on what you just led into.
Same game, Ben Watson. They're at home, and it's primetime Drew Brees. And Watson has been great when they're at home, so I'm firing him up. And if you're saying, who am I going to fire up? If I got Ben Watson and I got Travis Kelce, I'm playing Ben Watson.
Cool.
Gross. But I'm doing it.
My tight end start of the week seems a little obvious at first glance. I hope to our listeners, it's Gary Barnidge. He's been as consistent and as good a tight end as you found in the league. He's still only started in about 60% of leagues, which blows my mind. And so if that's what's happening, you've got a roster with a lot of people out there where you've got Barnidge and someone else, and then you've got the matchup of Seattle, which a lot of people think is really scary. We've said it on the show a lot. Seattle is terrible against the tight end. It's going to be Cleveland's main option. So I really think Gary Barnidge is a safe play this week. I'm giving full confidence. Don't be afraid of Seattle. Start Gary Barnidge. He's going to be fine.
What cannot be seen by the Foot Clan on the video or in the podcast is that you had actually spelled it Gary Barnidge.
Oh, really?
And I think that is a fantastic,
Gary Barnidge.
very fancy name for Gary Barnidge. That's an international spy. Gary Barnidge. Gary Barnidge.
Hey, he got
005.
paid. You can call him whatever you want. Heath Miller is my start of the week with extreme excitement. Now, I am going to conditionalize it because he was... No, listen.
I'm very excited to maybe play Heath Miller.
That escalated quickly. Go on.
He didn't practice yesterday, guys. He played great last week, but he didn't practice yesterday. So my condition is that he plays.
That's pretty good.
If he plays, he had 10 catches last week. Listen, the Denver defense, for all of its glorious ability, has given up double digits to the tight end position 3 straight weeks. They're 23rd against the tight end in fantasy football, and the pass rush of Denver puts Big Ben in a position to throw short. Those 10 catches last week were on 10 targets. He catches what's thrown at him. He's reliable. Big Ben loves him. I really like Heath Miller. You're an Eifert owner who, by the way, breaking news, didn't practice today again. All right? I don't think Eifert's going to be on the field. Heath Miller. Heath Miller's a great
So you're telling me if Heath Miller doesn't play, you're not going to start him?
Correct. Yeah. I'm going to conditionalize my starts on them playing.
Well,
you know what? I'm
you know who I don't like this week?
Who's
John Stewart. Jonathan Stewart.
Sit of the week.
I'm going to conditionalize
Thomas Rawls.
all my starts
Jamal Charles.
that if they have bad weeks, they were not my start of the week. How about that?
I think that's going to give you good odds.
I'm not surprised. All right. That does it for this everlasting episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. We'll be back with the rest of the matchups and a very good. We got Daily Dose tomorrow. We'll give you some DFS knowledge.
Yep.
Break that down for you, and an assortment of injury updates. Get you ready for the weekend. We want championships for the Foot Clan. We want to see them on Twitter, by the way. You bring home the title. I want to see a picture of that trophy and you. And if you want to intersperse some very defeated, dejected league mates in the background of the photo, that'd be great too.
Yeah, that can't hurt.
Maybe they're being watered using the Wheel of Water app. I don't even know. Don't know what's going on. So,
Clan for life.
Any parting words?
A friendly reminder, be kind. Keep the spoilers off of social media,
Yeah,
people.
and may the force be with your team.
Yeah, goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.